Extra simple, extra.
Tonight, several developing stories as we come on the air. President Trump and the White House admission today. We now know the president was involved in the crafting of his son Don Jr.'s explanation of that meeting with the Russian lawyer. President Trump's lawyer saying repeatedly the president had nothing to do with Don Jr.'s initial statement. What we've learned now. Also breaking at this hour, the manhunt. After two deputies are both shot, one of them repeatedly airlifted from the scene. The search at this hour. The outrage, the new video just released, police allegedly planting evidence in a car. Authorities say it appears the officer does not realize his body cam was rolling. The discovery on the beach. The woman's body found buried in the sand. How long was she there? And did she simply fall into a hole dug in the sand? And the flash flooding and record heat on tap. Tonight, news coming in of lightning strikes this evening. At least 3 people hit.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Tuesday night. And we begin with that White House admission today that President Trump did, in fact, help his son Don Jr. write that response, that explanation as to why Don Jr. and several others met with that Russian lawyer at Trump Tower. We learned the president worked on Don Jr.'s statement while on Air Force One as he and the First Lady were traveling back from the G20. But the president's personal attorney repeatedly said that the president had nothing to do with Don Jr.'s statement. So why the changing story? ABC senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega leading us off.
Tonight, an admission from the White House. President Trump himself helped craft his son's first statement about that infamous Trump Tower meeting with the Russians, a statement that ultimately proved to be misleading. Don Jr. initially claimed that he and the Russian lawyer primarily discussed a program about the adoption of Russian children and that it was not a campaign issue. But the story did not hold up. Days later, emails revealed Don Jr. agreed to meet the Russians because he had been promised dirt on Hillary Clinton by the Russian government. The president's legal team went on the offensive, saying he had nothing to do with Don Jr.'s original statement.
The president did not draft the response. I do want to be clear that the president was not involved in the drafting of the statement and did not issue the statement. It came from Donald Trump Jr. The statement that was released on Saturday was released by Donald Trump Jr., and I'm sure in consultation with his lawyers. The president wasn't involved.
Today, we learned that's not true. Sources tell ABC News the president, in fact, crafted his son's statement himself, dictating it from Air Force One on the way back from the G20 summit in Germany. According to the Washington Post, President Trump blatantly ignored some in his circle who wanted that initial response to be truthful, more forthcoming. Today, Press Secretary Sarah Sanders admitted the president was indeed involved.
The president weighed in as any father would based on the limited information that he had. He certainly didn't dictate, but, like I said, he weighed in, offered suggestion like any father would do.
After that initial statement, the story kept changing. Don Jr. said he hadn't met with any other Russians.
So as far as you know, as far as this incident's concerned, this is all of it.
This is everything. This is everything.
But it wasn't. We soon learned it wasn't just Don Jr., Jared Kushner, and Paul Manafort in that meeting with the Russian lawyer. The meeting, first described as just 5 people, ultimately had 8, including a Russian lobbyist and a businessman. President Trump now facing tough questions about whether he intentionally misled the American public.
So let's get to Cecilia Vega live at the White House tonight. And of course, Cecilia, all of this expected to be looked at by Robert Mueller, the special counsel. In the meantime, a major development tonight as we came on the air about the FBI.
David, the Senate today voted nearly unanimously to approve the president's new FBI director. Christopher Wray, he of course replaces James Comey, who was fired by President Trump amid the agency's investigation into Russian election interference. Now, Wray testified during his confirmation hearing, David, that he would resign if he was ever asked by President Trump to do anything unethical or illegal.
Cecilia Vega leading us off tonight. Cecilia, thank you. We are also following breaking developments on another front tonight. A manhunt underway at this hour after 2 sheriff's deputies were shot responding to a call. They were airlifted from the scene. They're in surgery right now. And authorities are now searching for the gunman outside Sacramento. Here's ABC's Kenneth Moten.
Tonight, the urgent manhunt for the suspect who shot 2 sheriff's deputies.
Shots fired. Shots fired. Copy, shots fired. Officer down! Officer down!
The gun battle breaking out in the California hills just north of Sacramento. Deputies from Yuba County responding to reports of an armed and agitated man pulling up plants in the garden of what investigators are calling a Rastafarian church.
2 officers shot.
The deputies hit, one taking multiple bullets.
What's your condition? Shot in the leg, shot in the shoulder. Copy, shot in the leg and shot in the shoulder. And medical's en route.
The suspect took off on foot. A massive search underway. Roads closed, a tactical team on the ground, and residents on high alert.
David, both deputies were airlifted to the hospital for surgery. The department says they're in serious condition tonight. David?
Kenneth Moten, our thanks to you tonight. And to Baltimore this evening, major new questions about police tampering. A newly released body cam video appears to show a police officer planting evidence in a car. Authorities say not realizing, perhaps, that his body cam was rolling. Here's ABC's Steve Osinsami.
Did anybody check this compartment here yet?
This newly discovered video was uncovered by someone in Baltimore's public defender's office, and it's so concerning tonight that prosecutors have dropped all charges against the driver who was arrested here. Take a look again. This is when you see one of the officers appear to put something in the car. What critics say these officers forgot is that when they start recording on their body cameras, the system has already saved the previous 30 seconds of video. Then they all step back, the audio starts, the recording officially begins, and they find drugs.
Yeah. Oh my God, I knew it. I thought they were freaking out. That's the weed smell right there.
Same thing appears to be happening here. That 30-second preview struck again in video from another drug bust that led to the suspension of a police officer last month. Prosecutors have dropped more than 30 cases connected to the officers in this case, and more than 120 cases are under review.
We are dismissing those cases which rely exclusively on the credibility of these officers.
Baltimore police this evening are reminding their officers that they need to turn on their body cameras at the beginning of the call and keep them on. David?
Steve Osinsami with us tonight. Thank you, Steve. We turn next year to North Korea's dangerous new launch and what we did not know at the time. The commercial airliner filled with passengers flying in the same region. That intercontinental ballistic missile flying higher, farther, and longer than ever before, landing where just minutes before, an airliner with more than 300 people on board passed very close to that spot. Here's ABC's Chief Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz tonight.
While North Korea's test of an ICBM that could someday hit most of the U.S. was sending shockwaves around the world, the more immediate danger we are just learning tonight was right in the area from where the missile was recklessly launched, in busy commercial airspace. As the missile was descending, flight data shows an Air France 777 with 323 people on board traveling from Tokyo to Paris. Less than 10 minutes after the plane passed northwest of Okashiri Island, the missile fell to earth, landing in the waters near the spot the Air France plane had just flown.
The crew of this plane had no idea that they were in danger because the missile was coming in from outer space. If it had broken up in the air prior, it could have endangered a much broader area.
Major airlines say they constantly analyze potentially dangerous flyover zones, and Air France says the flight was operated without incident. But the Pentagon has said North Korea's missile launches into busy airspace and heavily traveled seas are done with no coordination.
And Martha Raddatz joins me now. Martha, the U.S. has its own missile test planned for tonight in California, but unlike the North Koreans, the Defense Department will actually put out an announcement to warn those in the region.
That's right, David. We always put out those advisories and never launch near flight paths or sea lanes, David.
Martha Raddatz in Washington. Martha, thank you. Tonight, that new Russia sanctions bill passed after bipartisan support in Congress is now sitting on the president's desk, waiting for a signature. Vice President Pence in the former Soviet Republic of Georgia today, where the U.S. is holding joint military exercises, saying the president will likely sign the new law this week. But then Secretary of State Rex Tillerson also weighing in today, saying both he and the president are not happy about the sanctions, saying they're an impediment to improving relations with Moscow. Next tonight, to an explosive new lawsuit against Fox News, alleging links between the White House and a false story about a murdered Democratic staffer and leaked emails. Did the White House, did the president know the story was coming on Fox? It outraged the family and was then retracted by Fox News. Here's ABC's chief national correspondent, Tom Yamas, tonight.
Tonight, a new lawsuit with a bombshell accusation. The White House worked with Fox News to spread a false story about a Democratic staffer who was murdered. Seth Rich. He worked for the Democratic National Committee. Rich was killed in Washington last year. his unsolved death sparking a right-wing conspiracy theory that it was Rich who leaked tens of thousands of DNC emails to WikiLeaks, not the Russians. And some claim he was murdered because of it. In May, Fox reported they had proof the conspiracy theory about Seth Rich giving emails to WikiLeaks was real.
If this is true, and Seth Rich gave WikiLeaks these DNC emails, this blows the whole Russia collusion narrative completely out of the water.
But it was not true, and Seth Rich's parents were outraged. Amid mounting pressure, Fox retracted the story. The Fox News story was largely based on quotes from Rod Wheeler, a former homicide detective investigating the case. But now Wheeler is suing Fox, claiming his quotes were fabricated. He says he got involved after being contacted by a well-connected Republican donor and Trump supporter. The investigator says they went to the White House in April to discuss the Seth Rich story Fox News was working on with then Press Secretary Sean Spicer.
He really listened. He didn't say a whole lot. He said that if I wanted to, he could put me in touch with the White House General Counsel.
Not long after, Spicer denied any knowledge of the Fox News Seth Rich story.
I'm not aware of. I generally, I don't get updates on former DNC staffers. I'm not aware of that.
But today, Spicer admitted he did have that meeting at the White House with that investigator and donor, calling the donor a, quote, longtime supporter of the president's agenda. And the investigator now claims there was more from the White House. 2 days before Fox aired the story, the investigator claims the donor left him this voicemail, saying the White House was on board with the story.
I got a note that we have the full attention of the White House on this. And tomorrow, let's close this deal.
Then this follow-up text about the Fox News article before it was even published. Quote, not to add any more pressure, but the president just read the article. He wants the article out immediately. Today, that donor, the man in the middle, telling ABC News he's never even spoken to the president before.
I didn't speak to anybody at the White House. I was being sloppy with my words.
And late today, the White House was pressed about that story that later outraged Seth Rich's own family.
The president had no knowledge of the story, and it's completely untrue that he or the White House involvement in the story.
Tom Llamas with us live tonight outside Fox News in Manhattan. And Tom, Fox News is really pushing back against the claims made by this investigator.
Yeah, Dave, and we should also note that that investigator is a Fox News contributor. Fox News telling us tonight that they've seen no evidence that they misquoted that investigator. As for the allegation that they first published that story to help detract from coverage of the Russia collusion issue, they call that completely erroneous. David?
All right, more to come on this. Tom Llamas, our thanks to you as always. In the meantime, next tonight to the new controversy over videotapes of Princess Diana, recorded by her voice coach and about to be seen across the UK. Diana never knew these tapes would become public, and tonight her family and friends are arguing they shouldn't be. Here's ABC's Deborah Roberts.
Ladies and gentlemen.
They're deeply personal, explosive moments with a vulnerable princess. Moments some of Diana's friends say the public has no right to see.
I knew that something profound was coming my way.
Recordings made in 1992 during sessions with Diana's voice coach, Peter Settlein.
If you feel strong about a point, make it strongly.
Meant for her to practice public speaking, the clips seen in this new documentary comes from footage Diana likely never thought would air publicly, revealing intimate details of her troubled marriage.
We met 13 times when we got married.
How the Queen refused to help when she confided in her about her marriage, even reliving this cringe-inducing moment from her engagement announcement to Prince Charles.
I'm amazed that she's been brave enough to take me on. And I suppose in love.
Of course.
Whatever in love means.
Calling it traumatizing, Diana longing for love.
I was brought up in the sense that, when you got engaged with someone, you love them.
After years of legal disputes with Diana's family, Settlein is now free to release the tapes. They're being aired just as Princes William and Harry try to remember their mother in a different way, in a separate documentary released just last week.
All I can hear is her laugh. It was that love that even if she was on the other side of a room, that you, as a son, you could feel it.
And Deborah Roberts is here with us now. Both Prince William and Prince Harry were so candid in that documentary in recent days, but neither of them are talking about this new documentary about to come out.
They made it clear that would be the last time they spoke publicly about their mother's death. As for this new controversial documentary airing this Sunday in Great Britain, the producers are defending their decision, calling it an important historical source.